Carl and Damon here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. It's Day made what into a TV series, the penultimate episode of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. It's season 2, episode 25, Santa Pack. Yeah, it's Christmas. Ding dong, merrily and high. By this time this comes out, it's fucking summer. So sorry about that, but we're doing them in order. So I'm not like waiting till December to put this out. Written by Dennis Haley and Marcy Brown. Now this is confusing, folks. I'm going to try and explain it the best because we obviously had a Christmas episode already. Happy Holidays and a Merry Berry Day episode from the end of season 1. I think it's the last episode of season 1, wasn't it? Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch this, you might think, huh? There's some parts that are a little weird. That's because this was supposed to come before that one. This was produced as part of a 44-minute episode, initially called Santa Pack's Merry Berry Day. This would have been the first part, and the other would have been the second part. So why they splitting them up, I don't mind, because they don't really connect that well together anyway. But why they are reversed, I do not know.
Yeah, weird.
It is weird. And this takes place 1 year before the other episode. And you might think throughout the episode, well, there's no real hints towards the next episode. Well, yeah, at the end of this episode, it ends in a cliffhanger where Betrayer says, next year, and looks at a picture of Pac's parents. Because in the next year, that's when he will fake the parents in that episode.
Yeah.
However, I have this episode, I think, oh my God, I could not believe this. I was so outraged. I did something I never do. I spoke to my wife about this show. I don't talk to my wife about Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. Why would I? Bore the hell off out of her. But I spoke to her about this because I couldn't believe this. So, let me take you back, folks. Or if you've not watched them, please go check them out. Donkey Kong Country, one of our other TV shows that we covered episode by episode. Donkey Kong Country did not have a finale. Not a final episode, if you remember. Just another episode at the end. Just like Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures does. But what Donkey Kong Country did have, if you remember, was a penultimate episode that was a clip show / an award show that had a really emotional part at the end where it kind of reconnects on the characters and talks about how they love each other and even like from a villain perspective, how they just live in harmony together. And we said at the time that should have been the last episode. This should have been the last episode of this show.
Yep.
And you can't even say, well, he didn't know they weren't going to get renewed or cancelled or they didn't know any. Reverse them. When you air them, reverse them. Make this the last show, regard episode. And that is because it has a message at the end that I think is so strong that it could have solved so many other problems that the show will end up having when we talk about the final episode. I'm actually staggered that they did not use this as the final one.
Yeah.
Okay, it is Merry Berry Day Eve, and Pacopolis is feeling very jolly. Now, this is just a variation on Christmas, folks. So Christmassy is it. Everything about it is Christmassy. Music, lights, everything. They're just calling it Merry Berry Day. Berry Day. Pac is missing his parents. And Silly and Spider are trying to make him feel better. They talk about Santa Pac, and Pac is sad as his wish for his family never gets granted. Who doesn't like Berry Day, though? Even the Netherworld is celebrating, which turns out to be a bad idea as Betrayers hates it and plans to destroy it once and for all. Of course, yeah, I'm sure you will do that.
Yep.
So how does he plan to destroy it? It likely involves Santa Pac, as upon hearing his name, Betrayers blows his top. Pac is cheered up now and is enjoying Berry Day Eve festivities with his friends. He notices a present from Aunt Spiria, which says, open now. So he does and finds a picture of his parents inside. This makes him and the others wistful, with both describing their family's tradition on Berry Day. Alas, Pac's memories are all based around his time with Aunt Spiria, but he doesn't remember his time travel trip when he got to see his parents. Okay, so I was kind of like, we are really focusing on the parents in this one. That's interesting.
Yep.
Meanwhile, in the Netherworld, the ghosts are having to try and cheer Betrayers up, which seems like an impossible task. Having had enough, though, Pinky confronts him. I'm down for this. This was different.
Yep.
She gets in his face over it. And obviously Betrayers is all like, bitch, you don't be stepping up to me, that kind of thing. But I was game for this. And Clyde inadvertently ends up giving Betrayers the idea of getting rid of Santa Pac to ruin Berry Day. And Clyde feels really bad about that, upsetting the ghosts especially the Ghost Gang. Late at night, Pac and the gang are up late watching out for Santa Pac with Cersei. They're getting sleepy though. Coincidentally, Dr. B, Butler, and an armada of ghosts are looking out for Santa Pac too. Everybody is looking out for Santa Pac. They find him and confront him. Great scene where they're all just standing and waiting for him. And then, in what will go down as one of my favorite hilarious scenes, it felt so Futurama style. Santa Pac and his roundiers are packing. They don't need to be defended. They just pull out guns and just start wailing on the ghosts. And I fucking loved it. Because the ghost reaction as well is like, oh, we didn't see that coming. And that just made me laugh because of course, like Santa Pac would be able to defend himself.
Yeah, of course.
However, the ghosts have the numbers and the Santa Pac is beaten and captured. Meanwhile, the Ghost Gang go to Pac and tell him and the rest about the Santa Pac problem. With Santa Pac now captured, Brrraains then sets about ruining the holiday even more by sending his ghosts into homes to steal all the decorations and presents. And the good guys are powerless to stop it, even though they do try. I finally clocked it. Here's when I clocked it. I was like, they're doing the Grinch.
Yeah.
It's the Grinch. It took me ages to get there, but it was the taking of the items, and it was like, oh, Brrraains is the Grinch. But then I thought, oh, we could, if we're doing the Grinch, are we going to do the full Grinch with Brrraains kind of learning his lesson, that kind of thing?
Yeah, his
but
heart grows.
They don't go all the way with it, and I think that's fine considering what we do get. So where is Pac during all this removal of the decorations and presents? Well, he's infiltrated the Netherworld to try and rescue Santa Pac. Hey, this was a good idea. Separate him go do that while the ghosts are busy up in Pacopolis. He finds Santa caged up, and we get one of those random moments regarding the toxic air thing again, as Santa Pac reveals his magic protects him. Because Pac offers him like an emergency berry.
Yeah.
Santa Pac does reveal he comes to deliver gifts to some ghosts occasionally, which surprises Pac. Pac is then confronted by Brrraains and the ghosts and ordered to hand over his power berries. Otherwise, Santa Pac will be fed to a monster. And Pac does. And I wrote, like, what? Why? Just take one and kill them. Eat them. However, there is actually... This will get explained. Cut to him caged up with Santa Pac, believing Berry Day has been ruined. But Santa Pac reminds him that Berry Day is in the hearts and minds. Nothing can take it away. Brrraains thinks he's won. And I wrote it here, Damon. Sure you have, mate. Like, he's so pathetic. I've got no faith in him at all.
I know.
I don't know if we've already had the conversation, but who is the worst of like winning? Like, I still think Professor Pester sucks the most, but like Brrraains is up there.
At least King K. Rool actually got the egg for an episode or two, and then lost it later on. You know, so
you are right. You're right.
Yeah.
He did have the crystal coconut, not the fucking egg.
Yeah.
So Brrraains is excited to see the miserable faces of Pac-Worlders sitting down to watch Berry Day morning. And guess what? It's the Grinch. As we see people, they find a way to enjoy it regardless. Santa Pac was right. And immediately, I'm going to tell you, I loved it. I was like, stick this landing. I can see what you're doing. Stick it. Like, this is where you remind us that, like, there's supposed to be nice messages.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brrraains is furious, confronting Santa Pac, and Santa Pac points out that Berry Day isn't things, it is the people. His plan has backfired, and without meaning to, he's shown everyone. He's actually made it more important. He's shown everyone the true meaning of Berry Day. Furious, he throws fireballs around, which frees Santa and Pac. Dr. B tries to stop them, and Pac reveals his berry dispenser was fake. And he now uses one he had for Santa Pac, and they're able to escape. So that's why. He didn't even have his berry dispenser with him.
Yeah.
They collect around here, the gifts, the presents, and using magic, Santa Pac transforms Pacopolis back. Everyone is happy except the Ghost Gang, who feel left out. That is until Santa Pac comes along and gives them a present. The last present is for Pac. An empty box. And Santa Pac tells them his present is something that can't be put in a box. No spoilers, Pac will know it when he sees it. Now, I was sarcastic here, because I was like, wow, thanks, Santa, because I figured it was a crap reference to his parents. So it's not. So, The last scene, and this is why this should have been the ending. So, the last scene, I think this is really powerful. I know it's just stupid for me to buy so much into this, but the last scene is at the dorm room, and Pac is there looking at a picture of his parents, and Spiral and Silly come in with gifts and presents and all that. They're here to spend time with him, and then so does everybody else. Cersei, Spiria, President Spiros, even fucking Skibo comes in. They're all here to spend time. They even say to him, we are your family. You miss your mother. We cannot replace your mother and father, but we are your family.
Mhm.
And it ends with Pac looking at the picture of his parents and then turning around and joining his friends. That's your ending. Think about it. What you were telling
Um,
people. You were telling people that, look, we're going to leave the parent things ambiguous. But Pac, along this journey, has learned that these people around him are his family, and that when Pac needed them, at the most emotional time of the year, the time when you really want to be around your family, they rallied around him. They didn't go to their families, they came to Pac to look after and care for Pac because he needed them at that time. Even Skeever was at this party because
yeah,
he understands that. That is powerful. And that's how you end it. You leave us going, yeah, who knows if he'll ever find his parents? Who knows even
yeah.
if they're still alive? Who knows if he ever will? But he might be like, come on, man.
I agree. I agree with that, but I think personally they could have cut the last episode, made this into say like a 30-minute episode or 40-minute episode, and then added like the Betrayus has the whole Grinch moment with
Yeah,
his
yeah,
heart becomes big and he
yeah,
turns to good, and it's the perfect ending.
yeah. I actually think you're right. I think they really missed a chance to really end this in impressive style. It wouldn't have changed a lot of the run, but it felt like it had to be. And even still, even though we don't get what we want here, because hey, such is life, you don't get what you want.
Yeah,
Even still, I am going to praise this ending. What a great message to send. Now, how the fuck do you nail? How have they managed to nail the Halloween and Christmas episodes so well? Because even
yeah,
the other parts are really, really strong stuff as well. They
yeah,
nailed it. But I thought that this is up there. This one on its own as one of my favorite and like cartoony Christmas episodes because I think it nails the message. It does take stuff from the Grinch, but it still tells its own thing. And like, there's a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life as well at the end. Like, I think they
yeah,
just nail the aspect of look, Christmas, and it's all the same stuff you've heard before. Christmas is all about in your heart, and it's not about gifts, and it's about caring about other people. And that's all they're doing, but they do it really, really, really well. I
yeah.
really liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Arguably, probably the best episode of the entire show.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Because it's one that I actually listen. I cared enough about it that I spoke to Malou about it. I turned
Mm.
out I said to you, "You ain't gonna believe this," and I said, you know, but yeah. What do you think? Do you kind of get it like we do, or are we just kind of reaching because we're desperate for something that's so enjoyable to wrap the show
Mhm.
up? I don't know. It's Santa Pack, episode 25, the penultimate episode of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. You got any thoughts on this one you want to share with us? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.